7:19 now, and let's head to the Beacon Hill studio and the heavy hitters.
KC, put your hands together and get everybody back there in Dedham to put their hands together for one heavy hitter. Cosmo Macero of O'Neill Associates. Profile, please. The man is down 100 pounds. Well done, Cosmo. That gets a high five. Nice job. I said high five, but that's good enough.
I've lost a couple.
100 pounds. Congratulations. Keep it going. What's the secret?
I'm still pretty chubby, though.
You're doing just fine, my friend. You're still a hitter, but don't lose too much. You lose your status.
Okay. That's why I still got the same jacket.
Jacket's too big. You look great, and the emailers have noticed, so congratulations. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Peter KADZIS of the Phoenix is here, too. Gentlemen.
Who has lost no weight.
He's found a couple. We all did over the holidays. Let's get started with what's going on behind us. The so-called legislative pay raise. Pay cut. It should be called a pay raise. But we find out on Saturday, Duvall's going to cut the legislators' pay. Then we find out it's a 0.5%, Cosmo, roughly $300 a year. Your take on this?
I find myself remarkably outraged by this. The governor's got some latitude into what data he can use. It's written into the law. He's using that latitude. He's cutting their pay. It's largely a symbolic gesture, but
he said it wasn't yesterday.
Well, it's fair enough, but in essence, that small of a pay cut, I think, is largely symbolic. These guys aren't making a ton of money up there.
61 grand on average.
But it's I think it's a reasonable measure. The law has been in effect, I think, since 2003, and I think it makes sense. I don't find myself wanting him to cut it further. He used that latitude, and there you go. So
you lost some weight and you lost your mind. He doesn't want him to cut it further, Peter.
Look, the message has been sent that
it could have been sent a lot louder.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of wonder about the role that the Globe banner headline had. I mean, that raised my expectation that there was going to be a meaningful cut.
Like 5%.
Yeah, and frankly, it got me thinking about the subject. Once I started thinking about it, I think the 0.5% is frankly an insult. It's like a very bad joke. And by the way, the reason is it's not that I, want anyone to have to cut their pay, but if there's one thing we know for certain, it's that state governments, we're going to either have to raise taxes or cut more things.
In a perverse way, would you not feel better if he just kept their pay at the same level?
Yes, I wouldn't have given it a second thought. But the legislature should be preparing to get public employees' unions to come to reason with things like their benefits, health care, and I think as not just a symbolic but a meaningful gesture, that if they should have repealed the 5.5% raise, which was controversial, that they gave themselves several years before.
So, but hold on, you're saying because the Globe made me think it was going to be a big pay cut, therefore I'm disappointed.
No. What I'm saying is the Globe's banner headline got me thinking about the issue. Once I started thinking about it, I realized
I want something. It was almost like false advertising.
Well, I'm just saying that, look, all sorts of levels of state government are going to have to roll things back, give things back, and leaders are supposed to lead. And I would think that rolling back their 5.5% pay increase would have been a good place to start. Otherwise, just leave it where it is.
Well, let's talk. I got to move on, Cosmo, because there's another little interesting story going on behind us where this parole board scandal that obviously is not going away, nor should it. The governor says yesterday, hey, look, I'm waiting for the review that I've called for to come back before I really comment on this. The Speaker of the House, Bob DeLeo, comes out and says, hey, I'm ticked off. A guy with 3 life sentences got paroled, and we got to do something about it. Which one of these two is playing this right politically right now?
I think they're both playing it the way they think is right. Governor called for a review, and he says, hey, look, let's see what's going to happen here. Clearly there's a breakdown in the system. The guy shouldn't have been out. I think maybe the most obvious or biggest breakdown is that the people, the law enforcement officials who would have and should have and would have been prepared to say, hey, you know what? This guy's career, no good, can't be on the street, shouldn't be released, didn't even know about the hearing. There's a huge breakdown there. So the governor calls for the review. I think that makes sense. Now, what, the Speaker of the House want things to move faster? Okay, fair enough.
Which one do you want leading the charge is what I'm asking you, based on the attitudes that you got yesterday?
I think the governor's doing fine. I think the governor's calling for the review. He should lead the charge.
Well, it's not a matter of leading the charge. It's playing out their roles. I have to say, I wish the governor was a little less cool on this issue. He's ordered a review. That review should be complete. But you don't have to be a Supreme Court justice once you've seen that tape to know that something went wrong. I think Speaker DeLeo's quite within his bounds, more within his bounds, in being outraged. As Cosmo raises a good point, they're each playing according to their own political personas. On this one, I have to say I'm a little more with the Speaker than I am with the governor.
Legislative leadership needs an issue right now.
Especially one that takes attention off the probation department.
Exactly, and I think that's what you're hearing from the Speaker.
And one that takes the attention off the lack of pay cuts.
We'll never get back to that. All right, finally, let's go national for a second. You guys have seen the Navy tapes, obviously. Captain Owen Honors has been temporarily relieved of duty as a result of these weird tapes that he made in 2006, 2007. You've seen the tapes, Cosmo. Should a guy this high up in the Navy be removed for these?
I don't know if I'd go that far. I guess I'm being kind of a softie today.
You are.
I don't know if I'd go that far. It's juvenile behavior. It's unbecoming of a commanding officer of one of the U.S. Naval Fleet. I don't know if I'd go that far. The conduct, the tapes are very silly. Apparently, they were good for morale for these sailors, but not really good as an example.
Quickly, Peter.
Yeah, I'm less outraged I'm not outraged at all. I think the guy should have his head examined for, as a commanding officer, even though he was number 2 in command when it happened, to have any part of this. Even the HR department at a local donut stand would say that management needs to stand apart from this. I saw a Marine Corps colonel on another network question his judgment, and I guess I'm with the colonel.
You're outraged at our lack of outrage.
Peter KADZIS of the Boston Phoenix, Cosmo Macero Jr. The good news is you've lost 100 pounds.
I lost a few pounds.
Bad news is you've gone way soft as a result of that. Get back in the weight room, for God's sake.